Hi everyone, my name is Asia Activated. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On this channel, we focus on fitness and health and going after your goals. If you have been a day one with me, I just want to say I appreciate you so much. It literally means the world. So in today's video, we're going to be covering 10 mistakes that you don't want to make when embarking on your fitness journey. I decided to film this video because I did a weight gain journey, and on my weight gain journey, of course, along the way, I made mistakes, learned from them. So I just want to help somebody out there so they don't make the same mistakes as me. So without further ado, we're going to get into the video. You might want to grab a smoothie, some food, something. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video just because I'm going to really hit deep on each of these points. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so diving right in, the first major mistake that you can make is not lifting consistently on your main lifts for your lower body. So the main lifts are going to be deadlifts, squats, hip thrusts, the hip abductor machine, and those will be like the 4 main lifts, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing those every single week. And it's not going to get boring because you can switch up other aspects of your workout. But those main lifts need to be consistent in order for you to see true growth in your muscles over time. You want to do a process that's called progressive overload. So with progressive overload, essentially you're doing the same lifts, but you're progressing that lift over time, meaning you're going to make it more difficult as time goes on, whether that be by increasing the weight or increasing the reps that you are doing. Now, when you're lifting in your legs, I highly recommend lifting between 10 to 15 reps. I typically, what I like to do is start out with 10 reps. If it's a weight that's like new to me and it's a weight that I basically just advanced to, I'll start out with that at 10 reps, right? Then the next time I might do 12, and then the next time I do it, I'll do 15. Once I can do 15 reps 3 times through easily, then I'll progress to the next weight. So that's how I like to do my personal progressive overload. And it helps you to be able to track your progress because you're able to see, okay, last week I could barely lift this up. This week I'm lifting this like really easy. And then next week you can increase that weight to something else. So that's basically like how you want to track those major lifts. Now, as far as your other workouts that you do outside of those major lifts, you can have fun with it. That's what I personally do, but my major lifts stay the same every week intentionally, on purpose, because I'm trying to get a big butt. I'm trying to get it even bigger than what it is now. So I keep that consistency all the way through. So the next mistake that you could make is not stretching. Guys, stretching is so important.
Stretching is so important.
That is what's going to allow your muscles to be able to grow more. If you don't stretch, but you are growing your muscles, that can lead to injury because your muscles are growing and they don't have anywhere to go. Your muscle, then, you're tight and the muscle literally has nowhere to go. It's pushing up against something that won't move because it hasn't been stretched. You have to stretch, guys. Make sure you're including stretching in your daily workout routine. It's super important whenever you are embarking on a weight gain journey. The third mistake would be form. This is something that I am like such a stickler about, and it's something that I personally didn't take serious when I first started my weight gain journey. But I'm gonna tell y'all a little tiny story time in between this. So when I started my weight gain journey, of course I was doing my main lifts and I was doing hip thrusts. Hip thrusts were like super easy. I'm like, why? This is like really easy. It's not hard. So I was putting like 345s, a 10, and a 5 on, and like doing that. Like I decided to just try that one day, right? Because I'm like, what I'm lifting is like really easy. Now, I didn't know the right form for hip thrust, okay? So I was throwing my back every time that I did a thrust up. I was throwing my back. When I came down, my back was arched, right? Those are things that can cause back injuries. And that's exactly what happened to me. I tried to lift that heavy weight, and I ended up with a back injury. Even though I lifted it easily, because my form was off, it put so much strain on my back. And that had me out from lifting heavy in my legs for about 2-3 weeks. And to this day, you guys, my back still bothers me a little bit if I do consistent upper back and if I do consistent upper glute and lower back exercises. So that's something I would say definitely be mindful of. Form is so important because you don't want anything to take you out of the game. It's just going to set you back on your fitness journey. And never try to be like, comparing yourself to other girls in the gym. You have no idea when they start their fitness journey or where they are with their fitness journey. So don't compare yourself to them, okay? Always compare yourself to you and compete with yourself. So, doing those progressive overloads every week, increasing the reps and things like that for yourself. But don't be trying to be that macho girl in the gym, like, she lifted that, so I'm going to try to lift that too. No, it's not about that. What's the most important thing is having good form with your lifts, okay? When you have good form, one, you're going to make sure that you are solely targeting the muscle groups that you want to be targeting, and two, you're going to prevent injury. The fourth mistake I would say is not eating enough calories. So it's super important when you start your weight gain journey to use a calorie calculator. I know a lot of people don't want to do that, but when you first start, I feel like it's important because you need to know, okay, based off of the amount of exercise I do and the intensity of my exercises, this is how much at my height and weight that I should be consuming in a day, right? You need to know that because then you're going to be able to go ahead and count your calories, and you don't have to count them like all the time. Like, I'm at a point now where I know what certain foods, like how many calories certain foods are, so I don't necessarily have to count. I just do a guesstimate. But when you first start off, you do want to count your calories because that's what's going to help you to be able to retain and remember that information. But counting your calories and making sure you're getting the recommended amount of calories based off of, how much you're working out, your height, and your weight, because you need to be in a caloric surplus to gain weight. If you are working out and you're burning a bunch of calories when you're working out, and then you're eating, you might be eating more than what you've ever ate before. But if you're not eating enough to put yourself in a caloric surplus, then you're not going to gain weight. So it's super important to use a calorie calculator. I'll link one down below. I just use one that's online, literally on Google. I typed in calorie calculator and that's what I use. But I'll link it down below just to make it easy. But literally use a calorie calculator when you first start out. And this brings me to my next point, which is that when you're counting calories, you don't want to be eating empty calories. You do want to be mindful of what you're eating. You want to make sure you are getting the right balance of macronutrients for your goal. So typically, if you're on a weight gain diet, what you want to do is have 50% of your intake be carbs. Yes, you need a lot of carbs. 1, carbs provide energy. 2, they just gonna make you thick, honey, okay? You need a lot of carbs. That should be the highest thing that's in your diet is carbs, okay? The second thing that you need a lot of is protein. So you're gonna need to get at least 30% of protein in your diet. The last thing that you need is fat, of course. Fat is healthy. I would recommend always looking at the label. Never, ever, ever eat anything that says trans fat. Literally throw that away. Disgusting, okay? But what you can do is eat anything that has unsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, monounsaturated fats, or even if it has saturated fat, but you want to keep your saturated fats down as well. So not eating a lot of saturated fats. You want to mainly stay within foods that have those unsaturated fats for your diet. But yes, fat is healthy for you, okay? And you do need fat when you are on that weight gain journey. You don't want to completely cut out fat. One, it's almost impossible if you're, eating food, like all food falls into one of these 3 groups, and some foods are in multiple of these groups. So, it's kind of hard to not consume any fat. But just making sure that you are consuming that fat, that's what's going to basically give you like that cushion, that femininity, that feminine shape and all that. You don't want to be like two-toned where you're only eating protein, mainly protein and carbs and no fat. You're going to have like no type of like mush at all. It's literally going to be like a bodybuilder. Now, personally for me, I'm not going for a bodybuilder look. I'm going for a like a more feminine hourglass type of figure. So for me personally, I like 20% fat. And if that's your goal, then that's what I recommend for you as well. So just making sure you balance out your macronutrients and don't eat empty calories. Another mistake would be lifting heavy in your core. This is something I'm for sure guilty of. So lifting heavy in your core, the reason why I would say it's a mistake, it's only a mistake if you're going for more of that slim core type of look, because you want that hourglass figure. So if you want your core to be like super slim but still defined, then you don't need to lift heavy. You can use body weight for literally all of your ab exercises. You can use body weight. What you want to do is just have high repetition. So instead of doing 10 to 15 reps in your abs, no, you're looking at doing 30 to 50 reps for your abs. So you're doing a lot of reps, and then at least 3 sets through with your ab exercises. This is going to help to keep your core slim, but you're still going to be defining your core. It just won't be that bulky ab look. Now, if you want your abs to be bulging, then definitely lift heavy. Like for sure, if that's what you want, lift heavy. My personal goal is just to have like slim abs. I want them to show through, but I don't want them to be like too bulging on myself personally. Either way is beautiful. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you're targeting it towards what you want your body to look like. Another mistake, oh my God, guys, is doing too much cardio. This is a mistake that I made when I was first embarking on my fitness journey. Like, I would do like 20 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of cardio, not realizing that literally I'm burning so many calories doing cardio. And when you are on a weight gain journey, your goal is to literally keep all the calories that you can. Like, and I was just like burning them away doing 30 minutes of cardio. Like, oh my God, don't be like me, okay? Now, I'm not saying don't do cardio completely. That's not what I'm saying. You can do like interval training. You can do sprints, like that type of thing. What I typically like to do, I'll do elliptical or bike or something like that. I put that resistance up super, super, super high, and I'll do that for like a minute long, and then I'll take like a 15-second break and then hop back into it, do it for another minute. Because it's really intense, because it's really hard to even like move. If y'all know how 20 on elliptical feels, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yes, that's what I like to do. Also sprints. If you're somebody who likes to like run or run outside or have a track or anything, sprints are good as well. But doing long extended periods of cardio is not good if you're trying to gain weight, because you're going to be losing weight. Like, you're going to be losing weight. So don't make that mistake. The next mistake would be using the wrong protein for your goal. So it's super important to know which proteins you're using. When I first started out, I was using Herbalife, which I like. Herbalife has like really clean ingredients, and I was using that previously, so I just like went back to using Herbalife. However, Herbalife is specifically for people who want to lose weight. They do have maybe some, like I think they have one product that's like weight gain and for bulking, but it's like a product, you have to mix it with something else, and then it's still not as many calories as you could be getting from another protein powder. So what I did was do some research on different protein powders, and the one that I chose was the MRE Redcon 1 when I initially started doing my weight gain journey, and that one has like really, really pure ingredients. I filmed a whole video where I kind of go in depth on that, so I'll link that down below as well, so you guys can like watch that. But that's the protein that I use when on my weight gain journey. I am in the process of experimenting with more proteins, just because I get tired of, like, when I eat something consistently, I tend to get like tired of it and then I don't want it anymore. So I'm in the process of experimenting with more proteins. But either way it goes, you want to be looking at a protein that's specifically for bulking and a protein that's for weight gain. So when you go, I would recommend going into your local store and just asking, like a vitamin shop or something like that, just asking like, hey, what's your what are some of your weight gain proteins that you have, or weight gain meal replacements protein powders that you have on hand, so that way you can make sure you're using the best protein powder to get to your goals. Another big mistake is not working your shoulders. Ladies, the reason it's so important to work your shoulders, and this is if you're going for an hourglass figure, okay? I know everybody's goals on here even though you're trying to gain weight, it might not be for that hourglass figure. But for me personally, I was going for that hourglass figure and I was not working out my shoulders. And that is so important when you are trying to get that hourglass figure, because the goal is to be wider up here, smaller in the waistline, and then wider down here, bigger muscles down here. That's going to give that illusion of the hourglass shape, right? So if I'm not working out my shoulders and they're just small, then I'm just going to be like this versus being like this. Do you get what I'm saying? So making sure you're working out your shoulders and just broadening them, to lifting a little bit heavier whenever you're doing shoulder workouts. When you do your arm workouts, it's fine if you want to lift light and do high reps. But on your shoulders, go ahead, lift heavy, do low reps to kind of broaden your shoulders a bit, okay? Trust me, you're not going to look manly, especially if you're getting the right balance of macros. You're not going to look manly, okay? So just make sure you are doing that if you want that hourglass shape. Another major mistake I want to prevent people from making, because I made this mistake when I first started, and I know so many other people who do, is doing legs and glutes every single day. Every single day should not be a leg day. Okay, the reason is because you're burning out your muscles. You're not giving them time to actually grow back up to the point where they can be larger, and then you break them down again. So the growth cycle is going to be a 2-day cycle. So you want to go ahead when you work out intensely, break for 2 days to allow your muscles time, because what happens when you work out is your muscles break all the way down. They need those 2 days to build back up. When they build back up, they are going to be slightly bigger than what they were before you broke them down the time before, right? And that's the goal. You want them to be bigger before you break them down again. If you break them down and break them down and break them down, you're not giving your muscles a chance to actually grow. So definitely don't do that. Take your rest days for your legs. Focus on arms, focus on abs, but don't do legs every single day. The last point that I want to touch on is weighing yourself on a daily basis. So ladies, the reason that I say this is a mistake is because when you start out and you are constantly getting on that scale and constantly weighing yourself, that can be such a deterrent. Because if you get on the scale every day, you're not going to see major changes. As a matter of fact, with water weight, your weight is probably going to fluctuate between 3 pounds. So one day you might be like, oh my God, I gained, 2 pounds. And then the next day you weigh yourself, you're down 2 pounds because you're not taking into account like water weight. So I wouldn't necessarily look at that scale every day. What I would recommend doing is maybe weighing yourself like once every week or once every 2 weeks, because then when you look at that scale, if you are lifting and you are eating and getting in all of your macros, when you look at that scale, I guarantee you will see those numbers change, but you won't see those numbers change on a day-to-day basis. You're just going to drive yourself crazy, and you're going to make your fitness journey just like not fun. It's going to be like, oh my God, I'm not gaining the weight that I want. But if you wait and you look at it once every 2 weeks and you're able to see like that progression, like, oh my God, like last week I was at this weight, now I'm at this weight, then that is going to help to drive you to keep going. So definitely it is like a mind thing, especially for me. When I first started out, I was weighing myself every day. I was looking in the mirror every day like, ooh, did my booty grow? After a glute workout, I'd be like, did we get a little bit bigger? You know what I'm saying? But that is actually like a deterrent. So your mind is super important when it comes to working out and like staying consistent when working out. And if you're making yourself to feel like you're failing or like your goals aren't coming fast enough, then that's when you start to see people like backtrack and then eventually slide off of their fitness journey because they're just really being too hard on themselves. So allow that time to weigh yourself. Matter of fact, I don't even recommend weighing yourself. I really recommend doing like progression pictures and videos and things like that, because then you can actually like see your body changing side by side as well. That's what I personally recommend. It's going to help you to stay a lot more motivated on your fitness journey and allow you to want to keep going. And actually, I am going to touch on just like one more. I think I already did all 10, but I'm going to touch on just one more. One more would be when you first start your fitness journey. What I used to do, I would start my fitness journey and I'd be like, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. Like, I'm about to crush it. I'm about to kill it. Then I would start, you know what I'm saying? I would go 2 days in a row and then I would miss a day. And then I'd be like, I already like missed a day. Just like whatever. Like, I'm clearly not, you know, don't have my head in the game. But that's because I was starting myself off with such like a high goal for somebody who wasn't working out before. Like, you know, I should have started myself off with, okay, Asia, we're going to work out 2 days this week and then accomplish that. When you have that sense of accomplishment for a goal that you set, it actually propels you to want to do it more. Versus if you set yourself up for something that's probably not too realistic for you to do, especially when you're first starting your fitness journey and then you don't complete it, it gives you a sense of failure. And you might not realize it. It's all mental, for sure. It's definitely all mental. It's all like in your mind. But it's subconscious. Like, your subconscious is gonna feel like you failed, and that's gonna deter you over time. And that's also why a lot of people will start and then they stop, because they're starting with too high of a goal. Like, literally start with, hey, I'm gonna work out twice a day and get me in a good 30-minute workout 2 times a week. I said a day, I'm in a week. 2 times a week, and then accomplish that. Then the next week, accomplish that again. And then you know, you are going to naturally want to start adding more days because you're going to be feeling good. You're going to be like, wow, like, I'm really like crushing this goal. Like, I've been doing it 2 times a week. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a 3rd time. And you're going to start increasing the times that you are going to the gym. I just wanted to end off on that. But also, I want to say, you know, you guys are beautiful the way that you are. Really, I want everybody to focus on loving where they are right now in your fitness journey. If you just pulled up this video, you haven't started yet, but that's on your mind, like, at least you're somebody who's looking at this like, hey, I need to take my health seriously. I want to make a change in myself, and I want to start putting towards that work. So you pulled up, you took that initiative, pulled up the video. That is a step in the right direction. So make sure you're counting the giants that you have slayed, and that you know, don't be too hard on yourself during this journey. So I just want to say thank you so much for staying tuned, for watching this video. Anybody that stayed through to the end, mwah, love you so much. And that's going to conclude this video. Definitely make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, because my goal is to help as many women as possible who are like me, right? Who struggle with eating and things with eating, who struggle with their diet, who struggle with anxiety and things like that. That's my goal. Like, I want to help women around the world just become their best selves. So definitely send people over my way if you know anybody who is thinking about embarking on a fitness journey. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.